My name is Cecilia Tham. I am a social technologist at Alpha. Have you guys ever heard of what a social technologist do? Anybody? Yes? No? OK. So a social technologist, me, I am part of the ideation team. So what I do is I apply radical technologies, whether it could be intelligence, artificial intelligence, drones, nanotech, to global challenges, especially the 17 SDGs that we have all talked about today. So that's my job, hence the title social technologist. I'm going to talk about this topic, which I called Metamorphosis 3.0, and I'm going to explain why I chose this name. I'm going to share with you something that I learned recently. This is from a book called The Clock of the Long Now from Stuart Brand. Now, this book was written in 1999, and he talked about something called the pace layering. So the pace layering is this concept that you have these different paces of evolutions of things. So on the bottom, you have nature. So obviously, biological evolutions are very slow. Then you move upwards, you have culture, you have governance. You know, the government, the changes of policies and things are very slow. You have infrastructure, commerce, and all the way to fashion. Fashion, obviously, more beyond clothing. It's what is fashionable at the time. And more importantly, what he talked about is that the bottom layers provide for stability and structure, where the top layers provide for innovations. But they work in sync. Even though they are in different pace, they work in sync. And for me, when I read this, I thought this was very, very revealing in what is happening to our society today. And this all came about of me having this notion of what I call the social train. Let me explain to you what this concept is. So we have all been on the social train. So the social train starts something like we hop onto this train, which is we go to school to get good grades, so that we can get into good school, good universities, so that we can get good grades, so that we can get a good job, get a good salary, so we can buy the house, buy the picket fence, get married, and have the 2.4 kids, or 1.7, or whatever the latest statistic is of having kids, and then we die. So that's basically the social train that we've all been on. How many of us have been on this train? Everybody have on this train. How many of us are putting our kids on this train still? Everybody. So we know that the social train doesn't work anymore. Why? Because the kids are learning things that are obsolete. They're not going to be skills they're going to be jobs that are not going to be there when they grow up, getting to universities. Again, learning in skills that not going to be necessary. Getting the job that they probably hate, earning the money and buy things that they probably don't need, getting married to the person that they probably don't love, and get a divorce. I'm painting a really depressing picture, but just bear with me. There's a reason for this. So we know that this doesn't work. Not only this, we have created a society of fast and convenient. Fast food, fast fashion, fast cars, fast life, fast everything. But it also represents a fast death to our society, to our culture, to our climate. So this pace layering that was written in 1999 has all been broken. The bottom layer that is providing for stability, nature is being bumped up. Now we have genetically modifying capability that will change our genes from the inside out. Governance, we all know that the government is having difficulties in matching these very fast-changing technologies. We have technologies in businesses going at a speed that we've never seen before. And all of these layers are being disrupted, and we have no way of having this dichotomy of stability and innovation. So what are we to do? The good thing is there's a shift of power today. We know that information is instantaneous and ubiquitous. So the other day I looked up, how do you build a fusion reactor? I don't know how to build a fusion reactor, but if you do want to build a fusion reactor, you can build one at home in your own kitchen in less than 10 minutes, probably. We know that technology is low cost. Apologies for the font change here. This is a Bento Lab, which is a DNA sequencer that you can buy for 200 euros, and you can sequence your own DNA at your own house. We know that the time from concept to consumer has been drastically reduced. This is a car called Lightyear. It's a photovoltaic car, actually designed by a friend of mine a year ago. And now it's the second position on the list of the most anticipated electric car after Tesla. From mass production to hyper-customization. So now we have the capacity to tell. And so instead of mass producing all of our product, to mass and customize for each and every one of us. We also have access to funding. Platforms like crowdfunding allow for interesting projects to be able to go through without going through big banks. And the power of communication. So I don't know if you guys have seen this map. This is showing all the temperature anomalies within the last 100 years. And all the red spots are showing all the anomalies that are coming through in the coming years. And that's worrying. So the main shift that we're seeing right now is that all of a sudden, we have access to things that we have never had before. We have access to knowledge through the internet, funding through platforms like crowdfunding, technologies is low cost, communication is do-it-yourself. Which means that for the first time in human history, individuals, people, communities have the same innovation power as large companies, even nation states. So us as individuals, as entrepreneurs, have never had that level of innovation power than ever before. So not too far from the future, we'll see a shift from passive learners to active makers. And we have already, sorry, 3 minutes, I'm going to go fast. We're going to see passive consumers into active makers. I just want to point out a really fast example. This is Quinn Etienne. He was 12 when I met him. He came up with this amazing robots through Arduinos, and he built the robots. He sold it to other kids. He created an e-commerce platform. He is today a professor at MIT teaching adults Arduinos. I know we shouldn't compare ourselves to him. We are shifting. We have the capacity to shift from mass production like this, not knowing the conditions, not knowing where the materials come from, not knowing and understanding how things are being made, to local communities like Fab Labs, like Fab Cafe, where we can build our own stuff using local resources and local knowledge. We're shifting from having a white collar to a blue collar to the consumer, 3 separate people in 3 separate roles, to a pro-consumer type role where the rotation of innovation is really, really tight. The same person who can design, who can prototype, and who can consume its own thing would have the innovation power much tighter than anyone else. And we'll see a lot more innovation coming up. I'm just going to point out really quickly these 4, which is my favorite. This is called YOLO. This is an object recognition tool used to monitor ocean health, identifying different fish species. This is gelsin, which is a collagen replace material. So instead of creating gelatin from collagen, which is an animal protein, they extract it from DNA. The fun thing about this project is that they extract it from an extinct animal, in this case, a mammoth. So these are gummy bears made of mammoth DNA. This is a project by local Barcelonian. And, when the La Ley de Mordaza prohibited people to have manifestations on the street, they created this hologram for freedom where they projected holograms of protesters on the street, which was completely legal because no one was actually there to be arrested. And the last project is this food printers where you literally print the masa, the dough of the food, with the seeds and the sprouts, and then you wait for a week. The sprouts will grow, and then you put the whole thing in the oven, and then you shove it in your mouth, and you have the whole entire cycle of food source made. So, in the interest of time, I'm going to quickly skip this. I believe that we all have the potential and the superpower to be able to do whatever we want. Everyone can create. Disruptive ideas come from empowered individuals. More often than not, we draw these limitations that do not exist in real life. This is actually true. The next time you see an ant, you can try this. So back to the social train. We have the capacity to get off this train nowadays. So I'm going to draw this quote, Paul Hawkins. The worship of currency is perhaps the greatest cause of social and environmental damage in the modern world. The proper study of economics is fulfillment, not consumption. So with that in mind, I said my title is Metamorphosis. So I think that the change of time right now is as beautiful as the change from a caterpillar to a butterfly. It is also very worrisome because we don't really have the moral and ethical code to navigate this world that we don't really understand, along with the technologies that we are applying to. So this is a project called RoboRoach. You can attach a sensor in the back of a cockroach and navigate it as if it's a remote control car. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt the cockroach. So for me, good entrepreneurs make money. Great entrepreneurs make leaders. But true entrepreneurs are the ones who make impact. Never before have we had so much resources and access as we have today. There's no better time, and there's no better people like us to make the change that we need now. Our greatest fear should not be of failure, but of succeeding at something that doesn't really matter. Because if we have succeeded in something that doesn't really matter, that means that you have wasted your time, your talent, your resources. And we should not do that in context of today. So with that, I wrap up. I hope you guys have enjoyed my talk. My name is Cecilia Tham. Come find me afterwards. Love to talk more.